Introducing the remarkable archetype, the dangerous gentleman. With a demeanor that commands respect and a hint of potency, he embodies strength tempered by virtue. Though his capabilities could veer towards danger, he channels his power for noble causes, serving others and safeguarding those in need. Rooted in a profound love for both God and humanity, he navigates life with discipline and purpose. In his presence, one witnesses the harmonious blend of power and benevolence, a testament to the true essence of masculinity. Step into the world of the dangerous gentleman, where strength is wielded for righteousness, and discover a captivating embodiment of honor and valor.
Hello, and welcome to the Dangerous Gentleman podcast. We're going to jump right into today's topic since it's kind of like front of mind right now. There's a famous saying out there that goes, the best time to plant a tree is 10 years ago, 20 years ago. Depending on what version you've heard, it's a different length of time. But it always ends with, and the second best time to plant a tree is today. And so I'm going to apply this to habits. So the best time to start a habit is days, weeks, months, years, decades ago. The second best time to start a new habit is today, because it takes time to build a habit. And if you keep waiting to build a habit, guess what? You never build a new habit. You never change an old habit if you're always waiting for just the right time or just the right circumstances, or you're waiting to figure out the right habit that you want to start. The point of all of this is that you don't need to wait until times are perfect. You don't need to wait to figure out the exact piece of the puzzle that you need to do. The point is that to start a habit of building good habits. So pick a good habit and start it now and keep doing it. And pretty soon, building and creating new habits becomes a habit. And they start to compound and they start to build, and one starts to add to another. And then pretty soon you're always looking for new habits to start. Whether that's in your fitness, you might be like, hey, I'm going to start going to the gym, but I'll wait till next week. Well, I'm going to start a new eating program. I'm going to change my diet. I'll do it next week. Well, the best time to start that new habit is now, and you don't have to have it perfect. You don't need to know exactly how you're going to change it. You don't need to know exactly what foods you're going to eliminate or what foods you're going to start eating or what exactly your macros are going to be or your workout plan or exactly what your goals are. But start something and you'll figure it out. Start changing one little thing at a time, and eventually you'll get where you want to go because you'll start to see results. You'll start to see things happen and you'll realize, hey, I don't have to have it perfect. Because even me, like I go to the gym a lot. I try to eat healthy, but I'm always finding new little ways to be like, oh, I'm going to try this. This week I'm going to do low carb. This week I'm going to try some intermittent fasting. This week I'm going to eat this or I'm going to eliminate that. And I do that all the time. But if you don't have a habit of making positive choices, then it's going to be more difficult to make positive choices. But if you start making positive choices now, then pretty soon, positive choices. And it's okay to tweak things. But don't be waiting to get just the right thing, because you'll get stuck in what they call paralysis by analysis. You'll constantly be thinking about just the right thing. Oh, I want to build muscle. I want to bulk. I want to get skinny. I want to power lift. I want to build my arms. I want to build my legs. Or do I do this kind of rep scheme or that kind of rep scheme or whatever it is? Do I focus on cardio? Do I focus on whatever it is rather than just focusing on the habit of going to the gym? Maybe your habit is you simply just go to the gym and you check in, right? Some people start there and they go every day to the gym and they get up early and they go. And they may not even work out, but they may just go to the gym and get dressed for the gym, but they've developed the habit, right? And they don't have to have it perfect. I occasionally think about, what if I would have found exercise and fitness 10 years ago, 15 years ago? when I was a teenager? What if I had been working on all of these things all this time? How strong would I be? How fit would I be? Right? How much further along? But I can't do that, right? Because I can't go back and change that. And who knows, maybe if I had tried all that time back then, I wouldn't have been in a state of mind where I would have enjoyed it. I wouldn't have found the things that I needed to have found, and I would have ended up quitting. I would have ended up just flunking out of that. And then I wouldn't have even found it when I did. These same rules apply in so many different areas. If you're trying to do better in your business, but you're waiting for just the right gimmick, you're waiting for just the right plan of attack to change your business, to improve your business, deep down, you know that there's a bunch of stuff. If your business isn't what you want it to be, there are some very definite, specific things that you could do today. And yeah, maybe you'll go, oh, I wish I would have started this years ago. Well, that doesn't really do you any good to think about what you could have done 10 years ago or last week even. The only thing that it does good for you to think about is what you can do right now. The only thing that benefits you is having a bias towards action. Don't wait for the perfect. Don't sacrifice the good for the perfect. I know I'm throwing a lot of phrases and a lot of little things that other people talk about too, but I'm trying to give you a picture of how this is applied in my life and how you can just make simple choices and how it can apply to yours too, because there's no way that if you actually sat down today and thought about an area of your life that you'd like to improve, that you couldn't think of at least one. And maybe you're thinking, oh, my life is pretty dang good, and that there's nothing that you would like to change. Well, I would challenge you to sit down and just be quiet for 5 minutes and think about your life. Because I guarantee you, if you do that, you will identify at least one area, at least one specific thing that you would like to improve. Maybe you want to pick up martial arts. Maybe you want to learn how to operate ham radios. Maybe you want to study the political candidates in your area. Maybe you want to be more involved in church. Maybe you want to argue less with your kids or learn how to communicate better with your wife or be a better employee. I guarantee you that if you sat down and just were quiet for 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, and if you allow yourself to actually be introspective and you don't just sit there and go like, yeah, everything's great, everything's good, man, my life is just perfect. If you actually were a little bit introspective, if you actually were able to sit back and when you're sitting there, kind of step outside of your life and think, I wonder how I could improve. I guarantee you that your brain can find something, that your heart can find something that you know you could do better. And I guarantee you that once you identify that thing, that if you give it another couple of minutes, just a little bit more intentional thought, you could identify some very specific ways that you could actually implement that. Because I hear it all the time, oh, I don't know how to do better at that. Oh, I don't know how to improve that. I don't know what to improve, and even if I did, I wouldn't know how to improve it. But the truth is, if we're all really, really being honest with ourselves, we know how to improve those areas. And if we just got out of our own heads, if we just got a little bit unstuck, that we could find an area in our life that we could improve, and we would know that we could identify at least one or two specific actions we could take starting now, starting as soon as possible to improve that area in our life. And if you're still having a hard time, if you still can't do that, and you really actually are being honest and you actually really do want to make improvements in your life, and you can't think of those things, find someone you trust. Find someone you're comfortable with and be like, hey man, I want to make some changes. Is there anything that you can see in my life that would be a benefit, that would make me a better dad, a better husband, a better employee, a better church member, a better community? And just reach out to a friend that you trust and be like, hey man, I need you to be honest with me. How am I doing? And if you really sit back and listen, if you really are honest and if you really are vulnerable, I guarantee you, and if they're a good friend, guarantee you they will help you with something. And it might not be exactly what you're thinking of, but start there. Start with whatever it is. Trust that they are giving you at least decent advice, and start with what they're telling you. And if you do that, I guarantee you that other things will come up. Because once you start down the habit of improving yourself, once you start the habit of deeply looking at your life from an objective perspective and really wanting to make it better, once you start down that path, it kind of becomes addicting. And you're like, okay, well, what can I take on next? What's the next challenge? Because you should never be 100% satisfied. There's a balance that you got to walk between being content with where you are, but also always wanting to improve and make yourself better. So be content with where you are, because that's where you are, and you can't change where you are, but you can change where you are going. So be satisfied that the choices and the decisions and the actions that you've taken have gotten you to where you are, but you also know that if you're not where you want to be, that there are specific actions and choices that you can take going forward. And the best time to start that is now. Because if you wait, you will wait. And then you will wait. And then you will wait. There's no such thing as the perfect time to start. Except if that time to start is now. So start now. And there is no perfect exact plan that you need to be on. But pick something. Pick something, because you can always change it. And if you make a habit of looking at your life and being analytical and sitting back and kind of watching yourself from outside, you'll constantly start to see things that you could tweak. But if you're stuck, then you'll stay stuck. I like to use the scripture. There's a scripture in the Bible that talks about the light. It's a lamp to our feet and a light to our path. And we always want to see, it's not a mag light, it's a lamp. If you're thinking about it in terms of like the way that lamps worked back when that scripture was written, it didn't broadcast out 80, 100 feet, 200 feet, 300 feet, a quarter mile, however far those big mag lights will show you. It lit an area a few feet around you so that you could see a few feet around you, but you couldn't see way out into the distance. So if it was dark and you had a lamp, you could only see a few feet in front of you. So the only way to actually get where you needed to go and to see where you needed to get was to start moving forward. And the more steps you took, the more light that lamp would shed. The more space, the more of the path that you could see. But if you never start, you'll never see beyond the radius of that light from the lamp. But if you keep moving forward, that radius will keep moving forward, and more of your path will be revealed. But you have to get moving. You have to move so that more territory, more of that path will be revealed. And it's not always going to be perfect. Sometimes you're going to take a few steps forward and you're going to realize that you're not quite on the path that you want, and you're going to have to turn around and go back, and then you start again. But don't get too stuck in the fact that you might have to move backward, because then you'll never start moving forward. I know I'm saying a lot of things, but they're all truths that I have learned. They're all truths that I wish I would have learned a long time ago. So my own life is an example of this. I wish that I could have gotten to where I am right now in my mind and in my heart and in my journey and path in life. I wish I could have gotten to where I am without having to have gone through everything that I've gone through. But I never would have learned the lessons, and they would not have been as powerful and as lasting and as permanent in my life had I not gone on the journey that I've taken to get where I am. Yeah, it would have saved me and other people a lot of pain, would have saved a lot of heartache, but I can't go back and change it. The only thing I can change is my trajectory from here. And so I'm glad I've had the lessons that I've had, and I'm glad that I learned them when I learned them and not before I was ready. Because the lessons that you need will come when you need them and when you're ready to learn them. But you'll never be ready to learn them if you're not moving forward. So move forward. The best time to start was 20 years ago. The second best time to start is now. So start now. Find something that you can work on. ask yourself, ask others for areas, for specific things that maybe you can work on. Little things. Don't start with the perfect plan. Start with one thing. Maybe start with waking up early. Maybe start with going to bed early. Maybe start with reducing the amount of time you spend on social media. Maybe you eliminate sugar. Maybe you eliminate soda. Maybe, I don't know. But start with something that you can do and start as soon as you can. And then make a habit of self-analysis. Make a habit of learning new things. Make a habit of improving yourself. Habits will beget habits. They breed like rabbits. I like that. Habits will beget habits. They breed like rabbits. I think I'm going to remember that. Anyway, I hope you got something out of this, and we will talk to you next time.
So if you like this content, please give it a rating, a review, and share it with your friends. Also, if you'd like to learn a little bit more about me and what I'm all about and what I can maybe do for you, check out my website at thedangerousgentleman.org. That's thedangerousgentleman.org. Thank you for listening.